Don't know the power.
The math is unfootable.
Fusion reaction.
Oh, hell yeah.
Get to the chopper!
Press go up.
Gigantic fusion reactor that just works.
Multiple income streams and real yield.
Ooh, yeah!
Cheats can no longer dump on your heads. The revolutionary decentralized finance protocol. Fusion reaction in T-minus 3, 2, 1.
Fusion! You don't know the power.
The math is unfootable.
Fusion reaction.
Oh, hell yeah.
The mothership.
And what's it gonna do?
Everybody excited?
Oh, hell yeah.
Give my creation! Fusion.
Get ready to rumble.
Fusion.
Gotta do a huge shout out to Cool Sheet. That song just hits.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to our official EMP and Fusion and Plazm and DeFi AMA. We come to you every Thursday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern. My name is AJ. I'm the team lead here, and I have a very, very special guest. A lot of you may recognize that name on the screen. My co-host for this evening, Grover. Grover, how are you, brother?
I'm well, mate. Welcome from the land down under. How are we all going?
Awesome, brother. Yes, always happy to have our Aussie friends joining. So yeah, and Grover's been really killing it, as all of you know. Although not officially part of the team, Grover and John from Fusion Watch have been absolutely killing it. We're going to go over a lot of the maths, as Grover likes to say. He is the math wizard, and we're going to talk all about that tonight. We are on a little bit of a tight schedule again, a little bit late start. And this is my final week not in the studio. So bear with us, but we are going to try to wrap it up before 8 p.m. so we get about an hour. And just again, tonight is mainly going to be around Fusion. Around Plazm. So if you have questions about Plazm, we have a really cool announcement to make, and I'll give some alpha as well on all that. So please type your questions in the chat as we go. And again, Grover will be doing a bit of a deep dive a little bit later on. So, all right. But before we get into that, let me just do some housekeeping. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. That really helps the algorithm and get the word out about our protocols. So let me pull that up. Hang on. All right, there you go. So please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, that really helps. And we're going to start off with a bit of a market update. We always like to do that at the beginning of the show. And the market has been bleeding out today. And really, this is the volatility that we both like and don't like. So the reason we like this volatility is that it usually really helps bonds, meaning when you're providing LP, the liquidity providers make more when there is high volume. Again, that's how it works. You're essentially getting a part of all the trading volume that is created. So although it's bad in terms of price, it usually means a lot higher volume, which then translates into higher APR in bonds. So that is the silver lining. And I still think it's all short-term volatility. We had a dump last Thursday. It seems like we're always dumping when we're having our AMAs, but you know, this is just short-term. I think the extended cycle is still in play. A lot of external factors have suppressed crypto when the overall sentiment has been incredibly bullish. I mean, again, I know I've said this on many other AMAs, but the fact that we have a pro crypto president here in the U.S., there's a lot of pro crypto legislation being given out. I think a lot of this volatility and short-term dumping is pure manipulation. And what you don't want to do is let BlackRock and the Fidelities of the world be buying your Bitcoin, because that is what's happening. I said Bitcoin, but I mean all of crypto, whether it's ETH or Bitcoin or any of the alts. So this is all part of how it goes. And again, I think that those that do stay committed and convicted in crypto will be the ones that win. So, Grover, anything you want to add to that? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely now's the time to be overcoming that emotional attachment you have with holy shit, the market's dying,
For sure.
and be buying, and be buying. But you've also got to look at the bigger picture and not just the dollar value of things. I mean, like particularly with our coins. I mean, like if you actually have a look, the paired volume with the paired price with them hasn't really been affected that much. It's just the fact that the coins they're paired with are being affected.
For sure. Absolutely, Grover. Especially, I know, with eSHARE specifically, we have shared LP with both ETH and BNB, and BNB was on an absolute run. Some alpha that we did release earlier this week is that we now have vaults on BSC. So the Binance Smart Chain or BNB network, we are now supporting that in the DEX5 vaults. It just so happens, though, the day that we finally get everything up and running, or the week that we get everything up and running, that the BNB meme season takes a major hit. So it's funny. I saw a meme today that said BNB meme season, and it had a 1-day window. So yeah, again, take that for what it's worth. I think it is still all short term, and we will definitely be allocating to more blue chips. And
Well, it is.
yeah,
It's definitely still October.
it is. It is,
Just a
Grover.
short-term thing.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Again, that's what I agree. Yeah, I mean, just because we see a dump in 1 day doesn't mean that that the bull run has been canceled. So remember that. And like Grover said too, the millionaires are made in the dips. I mean, we buy the dips and sell the highs, and that again, I know that a lot of people aren't traders, but if you're always DCAing on the lows, then when the price goes up, that's when you really are able to make your money. And a lot of us, me included, we're here for the long run. I mean, what happens in even a year is nothing compared to what we can see over multiple years in crypto. I remember when I was buying BNB at $8 allegedly. So and that's within the last what 4 years, 5 years. So you didn't have to be here when Bitcoin started, right, Grover? I know you've been around.
Man,
I mean,
that would have been, yeah. Would have been great to have bought Bitcoin when it was fractions of a cent back in 2009. That would have been great. But hey, hindsight's 2020, isn't it?
For sure. Well, and now we have projects that produce real yield and are arguably even more economically powerful than even the OGs. So, real yield will push the price no matter what, and that is really bullish. Which we'll talk about that when we get to Plazm for sure. But
100%.
all right, awesome. So, just a few other quick updates. I'll let you take this one, Grover. Last week we had our first weekly goal hit for EMP, right? And
Yes.
Fusion.
It's been quite a while, but it was really awesome to see. Awesome to see. We actually hit our weekly goal for Fusion for Fusion Watch, where we've got weekly goals for how we can get, and we hit the 50K, which was brilliant. And I love being able to distribute the entire winnings. I mean, it's great when I can go, yes, I send it all out, not just a percentage this week. And in
For
all
sure.
honesty, it's the second week for a while that I've actually been able to, because we've got to reach a minimum of 13,200 before I can distribute some any prize, because otherwise we're handing out free money, more free money than it's actually sacrificing.
For sure. Yeah, 100%. So again, those that aren't familiar, I know we have some newcomers. We do a really cool weekly and monthly challenge where the top sacrificers are rewarded with additional EMP. So that was really great to see. Again, we are down on peg. It does go in cycles. You know, it's funny how fickle, you know, even our own dedicated community can be, and we get it. You know, the Plazm kind of takes the immediate limelight, but those that are still, you know, buying and sacrificing EMP, and we've seen a lot of microgrids go as well. We were seeing them as low as 0.003, 0.002, 0.001, and all of those are gone now, right, Grover? I don't know what the current floor is.
As soon as the prices have been dipping and pretty much dipping lower than the sacrifice, the relative sacrifice price, which is around about 3 cents at the moment. If it's been lower than that, they've been snapped up, and
Yeah.
that's a great thing. That's a great thing. If we can wipe the floor of those cheap ones, then they become more expensive on the marketplace, and then people will want to buy EMP and sacrifice more than taking it off the marketplace.
Yeah, 100%, brother. So, and again, just to remind everybody, Fusion Watch is our one-stop shop for literally every bit of metrics you would ever want to know about any of our protocols. So, this again is for EMP Fusion. We have some bullish announcements with Plazm. I'll show in a minute. But yeah, as you can see, you know, they're definitely, yeah, man, totally. You guys are always adding amazing additions, and we're at about 10% of this week's goal, 11% to be exact. So let's keep the momentum going with that, and we'll have an update later in the week. Hopefully, we can do 2 weeks in a row where we
That would be great. But I mean, at this point in stage, if we can hit that 13.2, it would be great, because then I can have another week where I'm distributing a prize.
Yeah, absolutely.
We haven't been meeting those goals for a while, and it's really good to see us doing that.
Yeah, no doubt, Grover, for sure. And again, this is where you can check the leaderboard as it sits. So these are the top guns for the week, both top sacrificers and top gainers. Again, what we're talking about is if we meet the goal and you're in the top 3 of either of these, you end up getting a prize. And there is a monthly as well, which is here. So we still have plenty of time for the monthly, another 22 days before that rolls over. But again, see where you stack up against all your fellow Fusion holders and try to get to the top of that leaderboard for sure. So, all right, awesome. That is the updates on Fusion. Let me get back to my notes. Bear with me real quick. Well, I know one thing on the list was bonds. So let's go ahead and jump over to bonds. And then we'll go back to Fusion Watch in a minute too. We have some really cool alpha for that. But here we go. So bonds, again, this is the backbone of the entire ecosystem. This is what we were talking about earlier, where we're providing LP on different assets. Those assets, you know, with the volatility in the market, it does suck to see the principal balance go down, but the APR usually makes up for it. And the API right now is showing, this is why I want to highlight it. The API right now is showing 44%. That is not 100% accurate. So as you've seen today in some of our Telegram messages and Discord, we went through a routine maintenance where we did a migration. So every few months we do a migration of the bonds to implement more P&L stats and other quality of life adjustments. We are working on an automatic redemption with bonds as well, and just to make sure the security is still all safe for everybody. So we did go through the migration. So if you saw your bonds disappear from either the UI or your Ravi or MetaMask, don't panic. Funds are safe. We're just upgrading all the back end. So everything should be back to normal now. Other than APR, we will be doing another injection. The way the back end works is once a week we do an APR. We pay what we earned from the previous week. So APR is technically 1 week in the arrears. And when we did the migration, it updated the math on that. It shows it as a brand new week. So we will be putting in more funds as we get them. Usually we wait for a week just so that we're not injecting every single day. But for the next few days, we will inject every day, and that APR will come back up into the appropriate range. So obviously, too, APR is variable anyway. But before the migration, we were still at about 70% APR, I believe. So it should bump
That's
back up to around
71%.
there. Yeah, there you go.
71%.
So yeah, awesome.
I'd also like to add to that, because of this quick update, the bonds page on Fusion Watch is a little bit out, but we're as soon as we can, we'll be updating that so that the stats about bonds are accurate again.
Awesome. Yeah, no doubt. I know we always throw you as a curveball. Again, John and Grover are pulling the stats from on-chain data. So whenever we update something, they have to redo Fusion Watch. So yeah, appreciate you guys, and we'll get it accurate ASAP. So
Yeah.
yeah, awesome. All right, so let me go back to the homepage here. Bear with me. All right, if anybody has questions, again, please feel free to type that in the chat as well. Let me go through the notes before we get to Plazm and just make sure that I covered everything we wanted to today. All right, so we went over that. Plazm, again, we're going to go over that next. One thing I did want to just elaborate on a little bit more before we dive into Plazm, it applies to both, but I think it's important that we give it its own section, and that is eShare. So I know earlier in the week, unfortunately, we had one of our OG members get hacked. So the protocol is safe. All the contracts are safe. Everything is safe, but no matter how much safety we build into the smart contracts and the protocol, if a large holder is individually personally hacked, then there really isn't much we can do. And that's why it's so important that you don't get scammed. We say it literally every AMA for the last 3-4 years now. And that is, don't respond to DMs. Even if you think it's me messaging you or Grover or anybody, it's a scammer. So if we do have a chat history, you'll be able to see it. If we don't, then don't ever do anything without confirming publicly, or just waiting until somebody is able to do it. If you do it in haste, that usually also is a problem. And unfortunately, somebody was hacked. I do believe it was a legitimate hack, just based on the history. This is an OG that's been accumulating for a long time, and the way it was liquidated, is very reminiscent of a
Yeah.
real hack.
It,
But
it,
again,
it
you
drained the
never know.
wallets, and they didn't leave anything that could, apart from stuff that couldn't be immediately liquidated.
Exactly, Grover. I know you and I both did some on-chain investigating, and again, it's here nor there if it was legitimate or maybe the person did just dump. But the reason I'm bringing all this up is it really showcased how resilient the protocol is. So a lot of OGs bought eShare back up. Plazm has built-in mechanisms now to buy and burn both eShare and Plazm, which also help bring the price up. And moving forward, and this was really the point of all this, I still think eShare is criminally undervalued. So I think that, again, people panic when they see the volatility, but they don't realize the power that we have now put in place with Plazm. And Plazm will always be buying and burning through eShare, which not only locks up more supply, but indirectly pushes the price of eShare up. And spoiler alert, some alpha, it will be now directly helping eShare. So we are making some adjustments with the buy and burn, where we will be adding about 10% from the buy and burn to buy and build eShare liquidity. So now we will have eShare ETH liquidity always being built, and that is really important because those that do want to cash out of Plazm, you have to eventually get back to Ethereum, and if the liquidity is low on eShare ETH, then we see a lot of volatility when people do sell. So the whole point is over the next 70 days or so, we continue to add to the eShare Plazm. I'm sorry, that we'll always be adding to eShare Plazm LP, but now we're also adding directly to eShare ETH LP. And that's also bullish for Plazm because, the higher the price of eShare, it pulls the price of Plazm up with it. So,
That's exactly
yeah,
what I was about
right,
to say. I was about to
yeah.
say all of those eShare buys. I mean, like even if there isn't a single Plazm buy, every time someone buys eShare, it pulls the price of Plazm up. So
Yeah, absolutely, Grover. And I know you've been doing a lot of maths about all this. So, yeah,
oh
anything
yeah.
you want to add to that? I know while I pull up the Plasm site, maybe go into a little bit about, all the calculations you've been doing for sure.
Basically, I've been doing a whole heap of calculations on how various scenarios can happen, and if someone with the current liquidity liquid supply that's of Plazm is available, was totally dumped now because there actually isn't much Plazm available on the market to be dumped. It really won't dump the price that much lower. It's about I'll have to go on to Fusion Watch to get the exact number, but it'll only dump the price down to around about 5. What is it? 0.23 eShare per Plazm, and then once they've dumped out via the eShare the pool, only down to just under $5. $5. That's showing how someone can dump their entire wallet. It doesn't really end. There's only so much they can dump because of where the liquidity levels are. And then when they go through the eShare, again, there's only so much they can dump without taking too much of a hit themselves. So the price is very resilient. And then because the price is low, all right, the buy and burn goes from buying however many it is to thousands upon thousands of Plazm every time it buys. And also because it is buying eShare as well, it buys even more eShare because its price is down, which exponentially brings the price back up quickly, and then levels it out at a equilibrium price where things are sitting nicely. I mean, like I was doing numbers there, and it was dumping the price in the fractions of a cent, and then bringing the price back up over $1 within a week, within 1 to 2 weeks. And that was an 8 million Plazm dump.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's so powerful. Totally. Yeah, when you say it out loud, it's almost too good to be
I
true.
mean, like,
But yeah,
obviously the liquidity pool at the moment, like, technically can't really handle that type of dump, and it goes. That's why it goes down into a fractions of a cent. But if the 8 million Plazm were dumped, it goes down to a fractions of a cent. They take it out through through eSHARE, and then the buy and burn's buying millions of Plazm every time every day, and hundreds of eShare until it brings it up with, like, as I said, about 8 to 14 days. It brings Plazm back up over the dollar mark, which is mind blowing.
yeah. For sure, Grover, no doubt, man. And that is the power of the system. I mean, again, we are a fork of Unity and Torus, which in itself has incredibly sustainable tokenomics. But what Grover is just explaining is the way that we have real yield feeding this, where we don't need new participants, is absolutely massive. And yeah, I mean, the lower the price, that just means the more that we can buy and burn and add to LP because of the real yield. So that is again a game changer. And I don't think I know some of you have the light bulb has gone off, but
Well,
once you
the
really
other
understand,
thing is that real yield is being accumulated in USDC. So
yes,
even when the market itself goes down, the value of the money that we've got sitting there to do the buy and burn isn't going down. So if the market's going down, again, it's buying more for us. It's doing it's buying the dips for us as well. So I mean, like, in these times when we're going, holy shit, the market's crashing, the buy and burn is going, well, this is great. I'm just going to keep on buying more and help the system when we rebound.
yeah, absolutely. And again, that is unlike anything that we've seen before. So really, really powerful. All right, I want to go through a little bit more in terms of the stats, and I know we have some really cool things to show with Fusion Watch. But before we do that, Grover, let me just give a quick overview of how to get involved for those that maybe just seen this for the first time. And if any of the stuff we go over again is confusing, please type it in the chat and we'll get to the Q&A here in a minute. But it's really a lot more simple than it appears. So to get involved with Plazm, what you want to do, especially now with the price still being fairly high, in relatively speaking, is create. And what that means is you're actually creating more Plazm, and converting your eShare or ETH just like you would buy it on the market, where you swap one asset for another. Uh, it's the same principle, but you get your Plazm over an extended period of time, and you're rewarded for that by getting a lot more of the Plazm when your creation or stake finally matures. So you don't get your tokens immediately, but you do get more tokens at the end. And again, ROI is determined based on the price. So we're still seeing, 14,000% APR or ROI. But that will come down again. It's
I'd like to
unrealistic.
add one
Uh,
thing to that. I mean, like,
Yeah, yeah,
most
please.
definitely for your maximum 77-day period, creation is by far going to give you the highest return ROI. However, if you're planning on going in for a shorter period and investments, however you invest however you like, but you really need to also have a look at the difference between create and stake for shorter periods, because at the moment, anything less than about 59 days, it's actually better return on it. You get more return ROI for staking than you would for creating for that same period. So there is some gameplay there. If you're going for the shorter play, it is actually better to be staking for ROI than creating.
Well, there you go. Again, some more alpha for everybody, and that is the really cool part about this system is that there's so many different ways to quote unquote play the game. And depending on what you want to do, there are better or worse decisions, and some of that might not even be something that we can predict either, which really adds to the gamification of all this. So yeah, I was going to show the example of what Grover's saying. Let me pull this up. Give me 1 second. I'll type in the numbers and we can see it. Well, all right, so let's look at a 44-day and see if that math works. So right now at a 44-day creation length, we're seeing about 1.3 thousand ROI. But let's go over to stake for that same amount. Oh, and it'll be a little bit hard to tell because we don't know the Plazm number from that. So yeah, it's going to be hard to show on screen. But you can play with the numbers and really see what it works out to. You have to do the math of what 0.1 ETH of Plazm would be, and then go this way. But yeah, there are definitely some situations where staking may be more profitable. And the other thing too is when you stake, you are able to actually end your stake early. So with creations, you have to go through the full term of the create, but with staking, you can, as long as 50% of your term has gone by. So say you stake for 60 days. On the 30th day, you are able to end your stake early. Now, there are massive penalties for that, of which is burned. So again, those that do end their staking early, that just means more Plazm being burned. But in Grover's examples, there are some underlying situations where staking could be more profitable in the short term, even if you end your stake early, as well. So, but again, if you aren't into doing all the number crunching and really just want the quote unquote safest play, and again, I use that word lightly as well because all of this is variable, nothing is guaranteed. But traditionally, creating with the longest time frame will give you the highest ROI. And we've also noticed that too. The way that we have our LP set up, because eShare and ETH LP is fairly low in comparison to the Plazm eShare LP, we should see it be more profitable to create over time rather than staking. Like, again, to use what we forked as an example, and again, nothing I say is meant to be FUD. I want to give credit where credit is due. Unity and Torus from cryptographics are amazing developments. And that's why we forked that instead of Titan X or Hex or any of those other ones. But that being said, when the price gets so low, what we're seeing now with Unity and Torus is the staking fee is almost as high as a creation fee, and that is a little bit difficult to have people get going back in to the system when they're having to essentially match their initial investment to continue. And so with the way our LP ratios are, the creation will still most likely be profitable a lot longer than staking when doing the maximum staking or the maximum creation length. So keep that in mind as well. And it's bullish because it was a bit of a happy accident, in the words of Bob Ross, but it's also a bit of by design because now it feeds bonds more. So again, when you
Can I
create,
just quickly interject
yeah,
here? I
please,
mean,
go
like
ahead.
you
Yeah,
mentioned,
absolutely.
that's the early stake fees are burned, but it's half of the early stake fees are burned, and half are forward to the next day's reward pool. So if people actually do end their stakes early, it helps everyone else.
Yeah,
as
that's
well that
another good
way.
point. Yeah, totally. So again, there are different ways to do this, and yeah, I mean, people staking that that are in profit and choose to get out early, then yeah, I mean, it helps all the rest of us. Like no matter how you look at it, and that's what I love about the system. No matter how you look at it, and Grover, you said this in one of your posts. No matter how we try to break the system, it just doesn't happen. I mean, and again,
I
yeah,
have really
you
been trying. I really have been trying. I've been trying to break it, and the big rebounder really is the buy and burn, because that's just a constant real revenue that's coming in and being able to be used. It just it gets broken down to a price where people would be going, holy shit, the price has crashed. And the system just goes, this is sweet. I'm going to buy millions of Plazm. I'm going to buy a ton of eSHARE, and brings us back up.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. And that's why, again, one of the many reasons that we decided to move forward with this, bootstrapping bonds, adding TVL to bonds, helping, our current ecosystem. But Plasm stands alone. I mean, again, adding real yield on top of a protocol like this has never been done. And we're already seeing the incredible power of this. And that was just a few more things I want to go through here. So we have our burn page, and this breaks it all down. So whenever you create or stake with eShare, that goes into the immediate buy and burn and buy and build. So that's what you see right there at the top. There's about $27,000 worth of eShare in the buy and burn, which is about $2 every 10 minutes buying and burning Plasm. So that helps immediately. The only potential downside to a protocol like this, with our alterations, is it does start off slower. So the only issue is, like right now we have about 350K worth of ETH. If we did this traditionally, then there would be a lot more buying pressure right now, because the buy and burn would have another 350K that is depleting at 1% every day, to help the price. So that does kind of suck, but that is, the trade off, because while the liquidity and supply of the token is at the lowest, we don't really need a lot of buying pressure. Um, and it almost it rewards those that are here longer in the system. And so every day the USDC buy and burn just grows without any new users whatsoever, and that is the difference. And so in 77 days, there could be thousands of dollars a day buying and burning and buying and building. And in 3 or 4 cycles from now, 150 days, 300 days, I know that sounds like a long time, but with USDC rewards, it really doesn't matter, because the volatility of the market of anything, it makes it to where we can buy even more, and that is always pushing up the price. So that is really, really cool, and makes this thing an absolute monster. And one thing I've been saying that I don't think people realize, or they think I'm crazy, but Grover, maybe you can word it better than I can. But this, with real yield feeding the system, and not requiring new users like every other crypto, including Bitcoin and ETH, this is one of the only crypto protocols where literally everybody can be in profit as long as they are willing to hold long enough. And I know, that sends some red flags, but because of the real yield, you're always, always, always having the buying pressure. And if you're the only person left in the system, then you're getting all the buy and burn and buy and build every single day from bonds. So yeah, I don't know if you want to
Actually
elaborate.
going to mention something very similar to that, and flick and suggest that you flick over to the Plasm a chart sometime soon
Yes.
on
Okay.
eShare, to really highlight that. if you flip over to the Plazm charts and put it on eShare,
All right. Yes, sir.
can be easily seen on the hourly time frame. Right.
Perfect. Yep.
You can see there that big red candle that goes down recently. That was the wallet hack. That was the wallet hack. Straight after that, you've got the buy and burn and other people buying. We've got the price rebounding, and then the constant steady grind of the buy and burn, pushing the price of it in eShare constantly up. And we are considerably higher in eShare price than where we were before that wallet was hacked.
That was so powerful. Yeah, absolutely. Again, Grover, I appreciate you bringing to attention things like this. So yeah, I mean, again, you can see the proof is there. That ratio is always tracked as well, and yeah, we're looking good. And so again, everybody's focused on dollar value or ETH value, but sometimes you have to look at the bigger picture. And I see a lot in the other chats, and you can attest to this, Grover. When we said it even with EMP, a lot of the time it's about acquiring units, meaning the goal should be to try to get to 1.1 or 0.5 or even 1% of the entire supply, because then you're in the driver's seat and you have a lot more control over what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, like you should be looking at ideal. I mean, like it's hard not to look at the dollar price of things, but ideally you should be looking at the percentage ownership and the quantity, the quantity of tokens that you own, and its relative price in whatever its paired token. So in the case of Plazm, that's eShare. In eShare. So I mean, like if you have a look at the price in eShare, it's just been near constant up and to the right. I mean, like, and that's just so powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, again, in theory, should continue as the buy and burn only gets bigger and bigger. So, all right, I want to highlight a few more things and then we'll go back. But yeah, you can see all the stats here, buy and burn, and then buy and build, which is actually a little bit higher at the moment. And that's bullish too, because buy and build is adding liquidity. And so, again, buying and burning reduces the supply. And is powerful. But arguably, buy and build is just as powerful, if not more powerful, because you're still removing the supply, not permanently, but at least the circulating supply of what is liquid. And you're now adding more liquidity. So the deeper liquidity we have, the more we're able to absorb the dumpers as well. And those that want to take profit, they are able to realize profit without being stuck, with no LP. So all that is really, really powerful moving
I'd
forward.
also like to highlight one thing on while
please.
we're on the buy and burn, buy and build. I mean, like if you scroll down the page just a tiny bit, I mean, obviously the being at the top, it highlights the eShare portion of it, but we also have a USDC portion of it. Now, this is just as important, if not, I feel in a way more important, is because this portion of it, when it happens in the buy and burn, it has to buy eShare to do it. So it goes buys eShare, buys Plazm, burns. The buy and build, it has to do that again. It has to go buy eShare, buy Plazm, build. That way, you've got that double whammy of price appreciation. It hits the eShare, causing eShare to go up, then buys the Plazm, causing Plazm to go up. So it's just such a robust system and so many interconnecting parts that it's amazing. And I'm taking advantage of that, and every time I possibly can, getting the little reward and building that up, and then putting it on a 77-day stake and basically having free money.
Yeah, absolutely, Grover. So yeah, we do reward users. Again, it's low right now, so just be careful that your gas isn't more. But yeah, you can trigger the buy and burn or the buy and build on your own as well, and get a little bit of this this user reward as well. So that's something we forgot to mention a few times. But yeah, Grover, you're gonna have some competition now. But yeah, and
those numbers, as time goes on, those numbers are going to be increasing because it's based upon how much the earnings are coming from the buy and build. And as time goes on, those numbers will be going up. We're only early. I mean, like, we're just over a week. I mean, just over a week, and we're hitting some good numbers and just.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. And just a few more things on this page. Although what you said is so bullish, the way that we have the routing set up, like Grover was just going through, is also part of the design. So because we're paired with eShare, that USDC always has to buy eShare and then route into Plazm. So that is again, like you said it perfectly, a double whammy of economic energy, and it's why again I think people are criminally undervaluing eShare. I mean, there is literally now, buying pressure on eShare every single 10 minutes that we never had before. Plazm was a thing. So that, and it will only get bigger as the buy and build and buy and burn grow as well. So, well, all right. One more thing I want to highlight, and then we'll jump over to Fusion Watch. Hang on one second. All right, so one last thing here is the stats page. One thing too, we every day there's less and less Plazm that is being put out. So we've always said that the create and the stake pool is a shared pool with the new Plazm coming out, but there also is a difficulty level, and a year from now there will be way less than 99,000 Plazm entering the market every day. It goes down every day by, I think it's 0.005. It's in the white paper. But that shows that, even as people are entering the system, it's not a huge unfair advantage to those that are early, but it is, but it is. So, like, in other words, we are still able to incentivize those that are here early and earning, but not to the point where new participants a year from now are not interested in the protocol. So that is another thing I want to highlight, and this will only get better with time in terms of those that are here for the long run and continuing to go back into the system. Maybe touch on that real quick, Grover, about how, when it does come to taking profits, it's always a good idea to at least cycle some back in.
Well, then the thing is, I mean, like, the system isn't designed for a quick flip. I mean, like, and in all honesty, if you're after a quick meme type flip, I mean, like, basically just about everything that EMP brings out isn't a quick flip system. We're all about sustainable, all about long term, and it's a two cycle system. First off, you've got the create cycle for basically for the first 77 days, and then that's when it flips to being more profitable, more ROI on your stake. So it's encouraging people to go, well, okay, yeah, sure, I've got however many thousands of dollars worth of profit. And that's when you go, well, let's not be greedy, because in all honesty, it will slam you with price impact, and you actually won't end. So if you go, okay, I'll take my initial, take 10% profit and compound the rest, it leaves the price at a good level, and the price level keeps on building up. And in another 77 days, you've got 10 times, 20 times more than what you had, and it just keeps on compounding that way. And you don't need to take all your profit. You don't need to just nuke all of your coins out, because like you just constantly building up your potential, building up your earnings as you go by. And if you're laddering, that's even better. That means that you're constantly getting some coming in, and you do the same thing. Take some profit, take your initial, and compound. It just it makes the system continually build and increases how robust it is. Ideally, you should be thinking 2-3 cycles in advance, not just by the end of this cycle.
Yeah, absolutely, Robert. Great points, bro. And that's exactly what I was getting at. So, yeah, I mean, and I had somebody in another chat ask me today and said, do you think Plazm will 100x? We're all looking for the 100x, right? So my answer to that was, in the first cycle, most likely not. In the third or fourth cycle, maybe. And in the 10th cycle, most likely yes. And that is how powerful it is. Yeah, go ahead.
I 100% agree with you. If you're thinking that long-term mindset, yeah, that it is entirely possible that if you're being in for 4 cycles, which is what just under a year, right? For 77-day cycles is just under a year, which is no time. Which really is no time. It is entirely possible that you're getting 10, 20, 30 times 100 times your investment, especially if everyone starts to think of that long-term mindset, because every time one of those cycles ends, the higher that the end price is, the higher that the end price in the next 77 will be. And the higher the liquidity, the more it can handle the being sold off, and so on and so on.
Absolutely, 100%, Grover. So yeah, and so as you can see on all the stats too, we're buying and burning every day. We're adding LP. Things are looking great. And there is a little bit of UI issue down here at the bottom because of our migration, but all the ETH is there. You can check on the DBank site. Going down here, you'll see all the positions. But because of our migration today, I know people were panicking, but everything is here. And again, in just about 8 days, it's been 9 days, we've already accumulated just over $6,000 in real yield without any new buyers coming in. And that is the whole power of the system. And what Grover and I were saying, about taking profit responsibly, obviously we want people to be able to make money, but the more that we feed ETH through creations and stakes back into the bonds, you're essentially paying your future self, because it just means more and more yield that will help push the price of Plazm up as we go. And another misconception, and it's the last point before we jump over to Fusion Watch, we haven't even turned on the buy and burn for the yield. So all the USDC buy and burn and buy and build, we're still only using 1% of that. So the first supply really doesn't start coming out until day 20, and we'll show you that on Fusion Watch here in a second. But we don't need to basically start the buy and burn too early. The eShare side is always going, so that's definitely buying and burning every 10 minutes. But the actual, USDC yield, once we start seeing the supply come out day 20 and moving into day 77, which is when a lot of the supply will come out, that is when we're able to turn up the USDC. And other protocols are only able to do like 5% or 10% of the buy and burn for USDC. When the time is right, we will be able to do upwards of 100% of the buy and burn for USDC, because we're always being replenished without new users. And again, that is so bullish. I mean, it's a game changer moving forward. So when we say, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 a day in perpetual buy and burn, that is the case with, as soon as we get through or closer to the end of the first cycle. And yeah, I mean,
I've seen people say, sorry to interrupt there.
Yeah,
I've
no,
seen
no,
people
please.
say that those numbers for the perpetual buy and burn seem unrealistic, but they really aren't. I mean, like we were already up to around about the 600, 700
For sure.
USDC a day that we're receiving for the buy and burn, and we're only at day 10. I think
Yeah.
it's day 10. We're only at day 10, and it's only 350K in the buy and burn. Double
Yeah.
that. That's we're only really early, and we're earning such a large amount. Really, when you have a look at a daily view, and if you look at the chart, 1%, and just the eSHARE doing the buy and burn, and it's the chart's doing that. What happens when it's pumped up to 10%, 20%, 30%?
Exactly.
Have a look. Think about what the chart's going to look like when those percentages are pumped up.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Well said. So, all right, let's jump over to Fusion Watch. I just want you to go through some of these amazing charts that you and John have created, and then we will jump into questions and start to wrap it up here. But all right, let me get back
I'll
to
just
Fusion
flick
Watch.
across as well, so that I've got the screen in front of me as well.
All right, here we go. All right, now we should be good to go. And then we have some alpha at the end too. You may see the tab already next to the Dune board. But yeah, we'll say that at the end. But go ahead, Grover. What are we
Have a quick
looking
look at you can have a quick look at the end if you like as well. I mean, like, across the top, there's basically pretty self-explanatory. The total creations we have, the creations per day, total stakes per day, and then that's been historically plotted in the two charts underneath, so you can see how things are going out and plotting out over time. Then we've got the daily unlocks. Right? These are the daily unlocks, not quantity of Plazm, but a number of stakes and creations that are being unlocked per day as we go along. And yes, as you can see, day 77, there is a big spike there, but that's to be expected when the longest term is 77, giving such high returns ROI.
Perfect. Yes.
And
all right.
Again. Oh, sorry. And underneath that, you've got the actual quantities of Plazm being released for those stakes. And as you can see, we're going along for those first few 70 odd days. You're only really looking at maxing out around about 25K Plazm being released, and then it starts going up to a large dropout at the 77-day mark.
So bullish.
Which is to be expected, and that again is plotted down, the next one down, as a cumulative, so you can see it in a much more visual way of how it's going. I'd like to, while we're looking at the cumulative charts, explain something. Everyone is going, holy crap, there's going to be a large pump of 8 million or so. 4 million Plazm come out on day 78. That's at this point in time. As that is actually it's the amounts that are coming out on days is actually going to be tapering off a bit, because you've got more people investing in the days in between for that 77 days, which shares out the available Plazm being distributed and spreads it out further into the future. So as we get closer to that 77-day period, there have been more people getting in. So the actual large chunk has been spread out further into the future. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
because
totally.
You've had more people come in, so they're taking out of the pool. So the people that are jumping out at day 77, by the time they're getting there, actually are getting less than what they were when they first predicted when they jumped in, because it's been spread out amongst more people. So that all of those plasms have then been spread out into the future, and they're being released further in the future than the day 77.
Yes, absolutely. And that is again part of the really cool design that Unity and Torus have implemented, because it is, a bit of dilution, but it is bullish because now we're leveling the playing field with a lot of the early creators and stakers. So I love that part of the design for sure.
And
So
that's also why this chart is good to keep an eye on, because you'll start to see as you get closer to that time, the chart will be showing you it. I mean, like the release chart, the cumulative release starts pushing out, and it's smoothing it out, so it's not such a huge hit at day 70. It's still being realistic, it is still going to be a big hit on day 77, 78. I mean, like
sure.
that's how it is going to be. But they're being pushed. The majority of them, as people are doing their ladders, as new people are coming in, as all of that, they're pushing all of those plasm further to the release of them further into the future, which makes the system more sustainable, which makes the profits that you get at the end more sustainable. And benefits everyone. So I mean, like, okay, yeah, when you get out at day 77, you may not have had however many plasm it predicted you'd have when you first got in, but the price is the amount of plasm that can be sold can be handled more. There isn't that much supply, as big a supply shock with release, because there isn't as huge a release, and it's enabling. It's pushing all the release further into the future, increasing sustainability, and helping maintain a higher price further into the future.
Yep, absolutely, brother. All right, and then one last part is the mathematical floor.
Is the latest edition. Now, this one is basically an at the moment worst case scenario. All right. This is an at the moment, with the amount of liquid supply that is available on the market, which at the moment isn't that much. If someone was to sell and to dump all of that, and all right, it would then, first of all, it would drop the price of Plazm to that eSHARE price, which is the orange line. All right, and then as they've sold those eSHARE out into ETH, it would drop it down to the USD price that is the blue one. Now, this is obviously a worst case scenario. If all of the available, now I have to stress this, it's the current available liquid supply.
For
so
sure.
It's not a prediction of how much of in the future. It's a current statistic and the plotting of what it has been. So I do have to put a caveat in there. We can't, because like you can't predict in the future, we can't say that these prices, it's not going to go down lower than this. It's just at the moment, that's the mathematical floor price if all liquid supply that we have available were sold.
Yes, perfect. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, Grover, but this floor price chart, it actually becomes more accurate with time. Right? Like
Yes.
there will be a point in the future, it may be, a cycle or two, but at some point, the majority of the initial supply is out. Even all the remaining supply would not have the same effect in terms of dumping. And so we really are going to be able to see this gradual up and to the right of the floor price. Again, assuming
That's correct, because it's using on-chain data. Right, it's using on-chain data and AMM mechanics to figure this out. As the liquidity increases, as all of the on-chain data says these things have happened, right? It then calculates the value becomes more accurate. It goes, okay, we've got more liquidity. It handles more, and it automatically adjusts the calculations as it goes along. So it becomes a more accurate way to give you a viewpoint of where you're looking at the moment of what the floor price is. And
perfect.
It's a great way to judge when to jump in and when to not, and so forth as well, because you can see, okay, at the moment the eShare price is steady and holding nice. There has been some eShare sales, which has dropped the dollar price that it can go down to, which is a good way to go, okay, now's the time to be buying the eShare and then buying the Plazm for a stake.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. I love it. So, all right, and I did show the tooltip again. Everything Grover just said is
Yeah.
shown there. And one thing too, before we get to the alpha, there is a little button down here that says Plazm referral. I encourage all of you again, if you're new, come down here and use that. That helps support Grover and John for developing this sort of stuff. And there also is a referral or a donation address as well. So again, you guys have been killing it. Every day I wake up and you and John have come up with a new metric to track. So shout out to you guys. I love it. And
The
yeah.
brains never stop. The brains never stop, man.
Yeah, totally, brother. So, all right, and then one last bit of alpha, and then we'll jump into questions. And that was just released today, and that
Just
is
released
the
today.
yeah, brother, the leaderboard, right?
The
So
leaderboard. If you have put in your wallet address, like in the settings, right, it will show you your information up the top, all right, and highlight your wallets in nice and green, so you can see where you are on the rankings. And these is what more can say? It's a leaderboard. This is where you can go to see how high you are in the rankings of everyone that invests in Plazm. This
let's
is where
go.
everyone can have it. Everyone loves a competition and says, "I want to get to number one." This is where you can go and you can actually see where you rank, and then and try and get that number one position and bragging rights.
Yes,
And who
sir.
knows? Maybe in the future we may have competitions for Plazm as well. It helps us to do to be able to have the capacity to do things like that.
Yep, absolutely, brother, and we will. I mean, again, this whole leaderboard system is meant to encourage friendly competition, but also to maybe even reward users in the future. To continue the engagement. So, and this is I'll show this one right here.
Yeah. If you actually click on it, it does give you the information on the each of the investments that has been done, how much, what the length was, how many days until the end date, all of that information. So you can actually go on and have a look and see where things are at.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, all driven by the on-chain data. I love this. The transaction hashes of when it was done. This 3813, as a lot of you that have joined into many of the AMAs, that is the EMP Treasury wallet, one of them, and this particular one, number 3 here on the leaderboard, that will either be burned. I know I said we would burn it in the last AMA, and we're still happy to do that, but we also had some community suggestions just to go back in and stake that. So that might also be something that we do. And
that is a good idea, actually. I mean, like if you just continuing the cycle, then it's just being a wallet there that has a good size and is constantly doing what the community needs to be doing to help build the system, and it's
absolutely.
just a wallet that's doing it for helping with that. That's just building.
Yeah, no doubt. And essentially, it acts as a second buy and burn because, although we're not, we still would be, I guess, buying in the sense that we have to pay the ETH to create or stake. On this case, it'd be stake. So that's feeds bonds. And then as long as we never sell it, which we won't, it's doxed, we have the track record, you'll be able to track all that Plazm. That is bullish because that's more supply that never hits the market. And yeah, it's again a great example. And yeah, we'll vote for it. Another bit of alpha, and again, this is down the road, but I want to make sure that we tease it right now. Plazm may eventually be a governance token, and with that, you'll be able to vote on, when to increase or decrease the buy and burn, when to, liquidate bonds, in the very end of, the life of the protocol, and pay out everybody that's holding the remaining Plazm, or, decisions like this where we either restake this or we burn it all. So those are really cool things that, is even more of a reason to try to own, at least 1% of the entire Plazm supply. And the listed, it is a supply cap token. It's not inflationary. Again, people think because the supply is being emitted that it's inflationary, but it isn't. It's a cap supply of 125 million, but I highly doubt that even 100 million will ever hit the open market, because we're buying and burning so much Plazm that total supply will be much less in the future. So all of those factors are, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I mean, you were mentioning people thinking, oh, yeah, inflation. A better way to think of it is, right, a lot of tokens have an emission schedule, right, and this basically does too, but it's a fixed cap, and the emission schedule is you're basically auctioning for those amounts of emissions. It's not minting. They're going to come out no matter what still, because it is a schedule, and they're coming out on a curve that's reducing, similar to what Bitcoin does. But by entering Plazm, you're effectively auctioning and trying to get get your share of those emitted coins, not minted coins.
Yes, 100%. Great analogy. And yeah, again, I just want to make sure we clarify that with everybody. And we did just do a stake or creation rather today, testing the new migration with bonds. So yeah, and we will continue to create along the way. And again, that wallet can be tracked in terms of the Plazm. So all right, let's jump back over finally and do the Q&A. And nobody said I had to wrap it up here quickly, but we'll get through the questions. Let me go back over, bear with me, and then all right, we'll go through it together. So all right, Grover, I don't know what the first one is you would like to do. Let me look here if there's any
scrolling down. You got all the high ones. Hi guys, and wave outs to everyone that did say hi. I think the first real question was from Richard. This is in YouTube, from Richard Boulding. We need to calculate what happens if people buy the millions instead and then dump it once it gets back up.
Well, yeah. So go ahead, Grover. I'll let you handle that one.
That can be calculated, but the thing, the realistic, being real, is there are, like, when a price does dump, people are going to be buying it, but so's the system, right? The system is people might be buying thousands, millions, whatever, but the system is going to be as well, and it's not going to be selling them back. It's burning them or turning them into liquidity. So those people that have bought large portions, if they then sell them back on the market, right, the price that it drops back down to isn't going to be as low. And then again, the system will go, sweet, I can buy 100,000 this time, a million this time. The system will buy it back up. And again, the more people the more that the system buys, the higher the price that it will be if a large portion is dumped. That's just how liquidity works. The deeper the liquidity, the more it's able to deal with. And every time the price goes down, the buy and burn buys can be buying massive amounts. And I'm not talking like 5,000, 10,000. I'm talking 100,000, a million Plazm at a time.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Okay, awesome.
Sure.
This one's easy. Grover is an Aussie. Yes, Grover is an Aussie.
I am Aussie. Funny enough story. Everyone goes, things will kill you in Australia, but actually last night I did have to catch a nice little python that was after our chickens and move it along.
There you go. Pythons, giant spiders. Yeah, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? Yeah. So out in the bush. All right. So all right, this is a good one. So Joseph says a 35-day stake is 10% higher at the moment than creating, and yeah,
That's
that's what
correct.
that's what Grover and I were highlighting a
That's
little bit
that,
earlier. Yeah. Yeah.
that's what I was exactly pointing out. For the shorter terms at the moment, right? Staking does give you a better ROI. So if you're planning on only doing a month term, because that's how long you want to get in for, that's how long you can afford funds to be locked up. However, your investment strategy is, and there's no real right and wrong, right? Yes, staking is going to give you a better ROI for shorter terms, and at the moment, I've already calculated that tipping point, and it's around about the 58-day.
Perfect. Yeah. And again, remember the caveat that if the price of Plasm dips dramatically, that could potentially push you into a negative ROI. And you just need to be prepared for that. Now,
That's right.
again, yeah,
That's the risk to reward. That's the risk to
exactly.
reward ratio that
Yeah.
comes into it. Yes, you may have a good ROI on a short term, but the risk that that's large swings in prices are going to affect that ROI are bigger because you haven't got as much time to build up a buffer of Plasm to remain in profit at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why, again, this is not financial advice. We always preface that, and there is no right or wrong answer. Again, it's based on your risk tolerance, your time frame, your, budget, all of that. So just be aware that you want to know everything and how the system works before you ape and then regret a decision that you made or enjoy the decision that you make.
I also do
And
want
yeah,
to. I also do want to say. I mean, like, although I'm not saying don't go in for short terms,
for sure.
terms under about you look at terms under 14 days, you're actually going to come out negative. I
For
mean, like,
sure.
even the numbers on the UI will tell you that. So I mean, like, real short terms, it's not worth. It really isn't worth even thinking about because you're just going to end up making a loss.
Yep, absolutely. And again, the system is definitely designed that way. Again, this is not a quick flip. The buy and burn needs time to outpace the selling pressure. So really short time frames are always going to be even negative. And the cool part is though, and I might do this on one of my personal wallets just for content, but I'm going to intentionally create a negative ROI creation, and then I'm just gonna hold it, and I'm gonna see that eventually, maybe in cycle 2 or 3, I would venture to guess that that creation, even though right now it's a negative ROI, that it would eventually become positive within the next 2 or 3
Yeah, well, I mean,
cycles.
like, it's quite possible that the buy and burn's got a couple of million in it, and it's earning $10,000, $20,000 a day in USDC, and just up and to the right, and after three cycles, whatever, you've made money on a negative investment.
Yeah, totally. And that's a very difficult thing to say in the current crypto landscape. So there you go. All right, awesome. Let's see, what else do we have? Mega Buddy says we need to stop the hackers. Yeah, I agree, brother. I mean,
Oh
our
yeah.
protocols are safe, but we can't control what individual users do, and that's why it's so important that you guys are and gals are practicing safe measures, and have a hardware wallet. Make sure you never respond to DMs, because not only is it devastating for you, but it's also, again, what we see over this last week. It impacts the protocols as well. So all right. Yeah, this is bullish too. So, Pulster Bader, no, that's a great name. But plenty are still finding money to stake on Torus and Unity. If you hesitate, then others do are picking up the right amount of shares. So, yeah, that's really bullish because again, they are getting new contributions to the ecosystem with the high staking fees. And so, with our real yield, I think that we again, it's going to be even more attractive for people on the dip. So again, just look at those protocols and add real yield, and we could see multiple a multiple on the success for sure.
And then
So
not only and another thing, they're on Ethereum mainnet, aren't they? So I mean, like
yeah.
we're on a base which gas is so much cheaper, which again makes things more profitable.
Yeah, 100%, brother. And yeah, both on Unity's on Pulse, and again, unfortunately, that the buy and burn on that has just been going down with the Pulse
Yeah,
overall Pulse X
yeah.
and everything else. But yeah, and then yeah, Taurus on mainnet. So again, shout out to those guys. All right, so what else do we have? McPanic says, imagine this amount bought would buy EMP every day. I feel like EMP is forgotten. All new projects make people just move away from it and focus all the time. Plazm, soon HVM. So yeah, this is a great question. And again, when we do our AMAs, I want to answer everything. And the short answer to this is the complete wrong mindset. So number one, obviously we'd love to be having the buy and burn applied to EMP, but that just isn't the case. We EMP is a fixed supply. There's no way to mint new EMP, and we can only earn with new revenue coming in. So there would never be a situation that the economics of Plasm could be duplicated with EMP. However, our treasury does do this, so it's maybe not on the scale that Plasm will be, but right now, our treasury that is earning for bonds is buying and burning EMP every day. Now, right now, it's through microgrids because they're cheaper and we're able to get more bang for our buck. But ultimately, it will be a buy and burn on EMP. So we've absolutely not forgotten EMP Fusion. It's still the backbone, and this is almost borderline soft FUD because we go over this every week, and I know that you know this. And it's not about moving focus; it's about creating real yield to support Fusion forever. And Plasm is part of that for sure. So yeah, go ahead, Grover.
It's not removing focus and it's helping Fusion. I mean, like the people, yes, okay, that's a new project and quite and everything new and shiny has a tendency to steal a little bit of highlight. But the fact is, Plazm uses eShare in such a way that it is. I mean, like NFA, but it is going to make eShare dramatically increase in price over time.
For sure.
And that is going to make the APR in Fusion increase because there is a portion that is directly from the emissions of eShare, and also a lot of the mechanics behind the scene utilize eShare. So as the APR in Fusion increases, that makes entering into Fusion, whether it's from the marketplace or EMP, more attractive. And it's a slow. It's putting a focus, but it's a slow method. We don't. I mean, I hear it quite often. Why don't we just buy peg up? It's only such and such. That's no. We don't want a rapid increase in peg. If we do that, if we bought peg tomorrow, guarantee you, however many liquid supply, a large portion of them would immediately go sweet where at peg and dump them and would be at a worse off position.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, couldn't have said it better myself. And yeah, I mean, and you don't even have to take my word for it. If you look at the eShare chart before we announced Plasm, obviously some of the speculation but then some of it is from the real utility. eShare went from $6 to 60, so that's a 10x, and real measurable results of why Plazm is beneficial to EMP. And if you get frustrated if that we launch new projects, then I would say you probably are going to have a hard time with Fusion, because the whole point of Fusion is that we're always adding new revenue streams to the ecosystem. So that is not something that's going to ever stop. And it's bullish because that just means more and more real yield to help Fusion. And again, it's only a matter of time. So, all right, awesome. All right, let's on to the next one.
Moving on.
Yeah. So yeah, all right, I'll go through. You go through two. We'll tag team. But so this is a quick one. Well, let's create and stake batteries on Fusion. So yeah, Neil, that is definitely something we're looking into. Obviously, adding more utility for Fusion and batteries, and making it easier for everybody. So yes, we are looking into that. Okay. And then okay, this is another one from Oceania. I did a little thing in Torus on Torus, and it looks like they have. Oh, go ahead, Grover. What are you saying? Oh, okay. So yeah. The basically the question is, that Torus is the same buy and burn, buy and build. So yes, we are a fork of Torus and Unity. We've been fully open and transparent about that. The original developers of Torus and Unity are the developers of EMP. I'm sorry, of Plazm. And funny enough, they are. We've worked with these guys before. The original version of EMP Fusion before we merged with DeFi was
He's on at the moment.
yeah yeah. So we were working with them as well. So but the question is, yeah, we basically are the same protocol. The difference is we have added the real yield. So the next question is, the price is currently 10 cents. Yeah, I mean, we hope that we have a better time, because we're not reliant on new creations and new stakes, and our buy and burn never depletes. So we may definitely get lows like we've seen in Unity and Torus, but over longer periods of time, it becomes way more powerful because of the external yield. So, all right, hopefully that answers that. Again, that's not FUD. That's just pointing out the differences.
Yeah, and what makes Plazm different?
Yep. So yeah, again, just the fact that we have implemented the real yield, perpetual buy and burn without ever depleting, and there's a few little differences. We don't have the fractal, because the real yield is essentially the same thing as a fractal, just forever. And then we shorten the windows by 10 days just to speed up the cycles. Yeah.
There's also one other thing. We're using eShare as our token now. That's
Great point.
People can say, oh, but that's a pain because the price of eShare goes down, the price of Plazm goes down. But the reality of it is, it's actually a good throttle. It means that it makes it so that it's not profitable for people to dump massive amounts of Plazm and try and then exit out into Ethereum, because it just hurts them too much to do it that way. It encourages sensible profit taking, because it's an upstream throttle.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and again, I mean, you can make that argument for anything. I know there's people that are bullish and bearish on Titan X, which is Torus, and then bullish or bearish on Pulse or Pulse X, which is Unity. So again, all is, and that's cool. It's an experiment. I mean, no daily creation platform like this has had a secondary LP with such a low supply token. Remember, eShare is only about 50,000 total tokens, which is incredibly low. I think what Pulse X is like a trillion, so something crazy, and Titan X is definitely in the hundreds of millions. So yeah, again, I think that's super super cool. As we see all this play out. So all right, awesome. I'm trying to go quick here. Next one is, are we better off converting ETH to eShare first before we enter the system? So yeah, it's totally up to you. Obviously, creating with eShare has a better, price impact on eShare, but creating with ETH feeds the bond. So if you put a gun to my head and said, what's better, I would tell you ETH, just because it's more of a economic energy perpetually, but there is no wrong answer, and it doesn't affect your APR or ROI, either or. It's fine. So, all right. Yeah. And
The only other
anything to
thing I
add? Go
will
ahead.
say, the only other thing I will say to that is, if you're planning on staking, you're going to have to convert it to eShare. I mean, like go the ETH, buy the eShare, and then you're going to have to buy Plazm to actually stake. So
Yep.
if you're thinking that you want to convert to eShare, hey, you get the double whammy of going for eShare Plazm.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Yeah, if you're staking, then yeah, you're gonna have to buy Plasm one way or another, or use, and that's another thing. Again, we'll talk more about advanced strategies as we get closer to the supply unlocks. But the OG alpha strategy is utilizing the Plasm that you have created and staking that. So now you're earning on top of earning, and you never had to buy Plazm off the market. So yeah, that's another, again, a way to play it. So all right, we're a little more here. Almost done. All right, so DeFi, I just want to shout out to you, one of our great friends, and has done some great coverage of Plazm already. Make sure you follow his channel. Thank you, brother. It says this AMA makes me even more bullish on Plazm, so let's fucking go. Yeah, 100%, bro. All right, and then I think that's pretty much it. Some more shout outs. Yeah, Joseph says, yep, doing short and long term stakes and creates. So you are diversified. I love that strategy for sure. Here we go. eShare plus Plasm equals money. Yes, 100%. So, all right. Anything else, Grover? Was there any other questions?
The only other thing that I would like to, Richard Balding, their the problem with cycles like that is post bull run bonds won't be producing like that. Well, in all honesty, I'd argue that point. I mean, like in bear markets, there's still volume, right? The difference is it's in the opposite direction, and bonds earn on volume. All right. So, I mean, like, yes, the actual the TVL might be down, but volume will be up. So the comparative APR is going to be it could, in theory, be up.
Yeah, no, I love that, Grover. I would agree 1,000%. We've been doing this now for 3 years plus with the DeFi Treasury and the EMP Treasury, and we've experienced the worst bear markets, and we are still able to create yield. So yeah, I mean, I get it. Principal might be down, but even so, number one, I don't think we're ever going to see a crypto winter that we've seen before. So there is that. But even if we do, then we can pick the plays that have the volume. And even in a worst case scenario, we move to stable APR or stable LPs that do 10 to 15% APR. So it would never be zero. And as long as it's not zero, it's better than what we see with other platforms, because all the every other platform out there is a buy and burn that only goes down because it's being spent, so or it's paused and not being used at all. So just keep all that in mind for sure. So all right, awesome. All right, I think that's it then. Grover, yeah, thank you, brother. Yeah,
running tight on time.
we are. So I'm gonna wrap it up. But any final words for all the beautiful people, Grover? I appreciate you, and I'll let you have the last word, bro. You guys have
Well,
been killing
the only
it.
thing I say is keep the long-term mindset, and as with everything, responsibly profit take. Right, long-term mindset, guys. Responsibly profit take, and keep on pumping, keep on plasming, keep on being emperors.
All right, let's go. Yes, emperors will prevail. So thank you again, bro, for being here. Thank you for all of you for being here. We had another record number tonight, almost 100 people on the live, and make sure to share the recording with all your friends, your crypto bros, to get more eyeballs on our ecosystem. So we come to you every Thursday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern, and join me in about 2 minutes over on the HVM live stream next. So, all right, good night, good day. We'll see you
Good
next
night,
week.
guys. Bye, guys.